Hey guys, Akariss here, bringing you a brand new AI video. A little bit overdue, maybe, I don't know. It's been about a month or so. Just trying to figure out the most useful advice that you guys could use to improve your A game, or AR game. Please don't click off the video, I love you guys. Alright, anyways, today's video, as you no doubt are probably aware of by now, is going to focus on attack priorities. Now, as always, I'm going to link Verve's AI guide, which is a huge and very useful resource. You can find it in the description below if you want just kind of like a text understanding of everything in depth. I'm not going to cover everything because honestly, if I was to do something like that, it would be like a 1-hour video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to summarize the most important things that you guys will run into for ether raids, defense teams as usual, and then you can make decisions based off this information to improve your game. So with that being said, no, we're not going to tackle my cav line. Although it does utilize some of these concepts, definitely you need to know some aspect of AI to overcome a defense like this. But that's not what we're focused on today. I put together a very simple layout. It's not something you're gonna run into. It's just the point is we focus on exactly what's going on with all these different situations. Like you look at these units. And you try to figure out like who attacks first, and it might get a little bit confusing for you. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of summarize a little bit of what you should always look out for when considering who attacks first, okay? And we'll go through that. I'll put like a little text blurb that will help you as I go through the examples. But what I want to focus on, the most important thing to realize when playing AR or anything in arena or any AI, is that combat results will always end up in priority given to the winning unit. When an AI wants to attack, the winning unit always has the highest priority regardless of any other situation, and that unit attacks first, it wins. Basically your tank dies or a unit died. Like AI is always going to go for a kill if it can, even if there's stuff like restores and heals. They always want a kill if possible. So that's like the first thing you should take in mind. You basically don't want to tank and lose. I mean, that's a given. That's why stuff like rally traps and restore traps and such exist, to try to make the defense team as strong as possible and overcome a tank. Now, what happens when you have the advantage and your tank is able to overcome a lot of things? Are you at danger? Yeah, you could still be in danger if you don't exactly know what attacks first. So what I want to showcase is the list of secondary things that AI considers when everything is either a loss or even a draw. So you know what exactly that means. A draw is basically a stalemate. So like let's say Thrasier and has a draw. That means if she attacks into, like, let's say Bike, and she doesn't kill, but Bike doesn't kill her, that's a draw. A loss would be like Bike killing her. So that's the AI saying, oh, I lost, so that's lowest priority. So if everything has a draw, then the second step in AI takes into account. For example, the next step when everything is a draw is called you can kind of ignore this whole debuffs enemy thing because it's very, very small list of weapons that apply to this. It's pretty much like Veronica's staff. It's the only thing that's relevant here. What is important is to understand what afflicts enemy is, because you will run into this many times in AR, and that's what we're looking at here. Panic staff. So afflicts enemy is basically any panic weapon, pretty much panic staff, but also any staffs. So I mean like pain, candlelight, fear, any staff, and any of the panic weapons basically fall under this category. So you'll see panic weapons, especially since we had a Halloween rerun, and you'll see plenty of staff users. If you were to see like a panic staff and Veronica with her preference staff, the preference staff from Veronica has priority. That's the B slot here. But this all applies if the attacking enemy, all of them have draws, or all of them have losses. If someone has a draw and someone has a loss, the draw is still going to attack over the loss. So for example, you have a null C Bike and she kills Ethlin, but she doesn't kill he Bike. Bike's a she. Bike doesn't kill Thrasir, which would be a draw, but kills Ethlin, which would be a win, which would be a loss for the AI to consider. That means that Thrasir would attack over Ethlin. So right now, I'm just kind of giving you the verbal explanation, but I'm going to show you exactly what this means, okay? So keep in mind that these sort of staff weapons and panic weapons have priority over even damage. And I think most people probably come to understand that the thing that attacks first is always the highest damage. The highest damage meaning what gives the most damage, what hits the hardest from the AI. That's what it considers. And yeah, this is the thing though, it doesn't consider specials. So a lot of people might see like Dragon Fang Lilina and be like, whoa, that's like gonna hit me really hard. But AI doesn't consider special damage. It actually just considers the straight up normal calculation, which would happen between two units. So usually a TA advantage unit tends to have the highest attack, so a TA advantage unit tends to attack more often than not because of the bonus damage. This is not always the case, of course, when you have just units that are super powerful or colorless and such. But yeah, so to summarize so far, we have winning matchups, loss matchups, winning matchups, draw matchups, loss matchups. You gotta remember those three things. Always consider them. If everything is a win for you, the player, then the AI goes on to the next AI check. If everything is a draw, which I don't see why you would still tank with draws, but you still, you know, it could be a play, then the AI still goes on to the next step and sees which unit attacks next. And everything's a log, which is usually the case for a good tank, the AI starts checking other things, like whether it has a panic staff user that can attack. And in this case we do, which you'll see in a moment what that means. And finally, if the panic staff is not applicable for an attack, then it uses the unit that does the most damage versus the tank to attack first. Which is why stuff like your specials, your healing specials accelerated is very important, because you can usually expect the highest attacking unit to attack first. You need to heal the most right away. Delayed healing through stuff like ether generally tends to be a miss in ether raids, because you get your healing a little too late and your tank will usually get whittled down and die by the time you get that ether healing to bring you back up. That's why stuff like Noontime and Soul are actually pretty good in ether raids. Finally, the last thing I want to touch at, which is kind of overlooked and it's not super important, is increasing special charge, and that's what Naysala here has, guard. You'll run into special fighter quite a bit, sometimes you run into guard. What this means is that if a unit has basically guard or special fighter which stops the special from happening, then that unit will have priority. This is really applicable when it stops like a healing special. So believe it or not, an AI will consider a healing through Mystic Boost or post-combat, maybe Soul and Noontime, how it affected the HP of a unit, and will try to deny healing if possible through Guard or Special Fighter if it has a better combat result, which is why Naysala will be showcased near the end, and it's something you shouldn't overlook when looking at defense teams. So that pretty much sums up how AI works, but let's actually jump into it, and I'm just going to remove the big wall of text. I'm going to bring out these quick tips if you kind of forgot how things work, and we're going to jump in and I'll show you exactly what this all means. Alright, so what I'm going to do is probably your most common situation, which is you have like two units who can attack. Let's say Alm, let's say Thrasir. They can both attack Alm, they can both attack Shrina right here. Now that's not obviously the best play, I'm not trying to make a good play, I'm just trying to showcase how AI works. We've decided just to low-key down Ethlin so that panic doesn't come into effect here. I just want to showcase what happens between two units. Strictly the two unit outcome. So I'm just gonna put Thrasir in, put Shrina in Thrasir and Alm's range. You'll see here that Thrasir is going to attack because she has the weapon triangle advantage. She does more damage. That's really what it comes down to. Both Thrasir and Alm have a losing matchup, so it just becomes a damage ratio check, which is number 3 on our list here. And turn, you see that's how it works. Thrasier just does more damage, therefore she attacks. Nothing fancy. It literally just comes down to who does more damage. Panic Staff happens little too late, so you know you've done a good play by locking down the Panic Staff healer. But what happens when you don't lock down the Panic Staff healer? Well, bad things happen, of course, as you may obviously expect, because the Afflictor status comes into play.
Yes, I see. Let's go.
So I'll do the same thing, but now we haven't low-keyed down Ethlyn. She has range to attack now. And remember, all of these guys have losses, including Ethlyn. So Ethlyn, because she has the Panic Staff, even though she might do the least amount of damage, will attack first, and therefore afflict Panic onto Shrina, causing better matchups for the AI. So 5 damage, she does the least, but she afflicted Panic onto Shrina, and now we're in trouble. Can I get an F? Yep, so we got an F for Shrina. Shrina's gone. Alright. Finally, we're going to take a look at how the guard aspect plays into play. Like, how it plays into this, too.
My turn. Yes, choose your path. Let's go.
Okay, so remember, Naysala has guard, Thrasier doesn't. Naysala does less damage than Thrasier would, but because he stops special acceleration, he's going to attack before Thrasier does, even though he does less damage. Apparently he did so much damage that he crashed the game. Sorry, he denied special acceleration so much that he basically crashed the game. But that pretty much actually covers everything in the AI video, so I'm not really going to go back into it. It seems like the game knew exactly when to cut out. And that
Fire Emblem Heroes.
That pretty much covers everything. So to summarize everything in the video, AIs always want the best combat result. That's number one. If the AI can win, it'll take that. If it can take a draw over any loss, it'll take that. It's not meant to be. Anyways, and if everything is a loss or everything is a draw, then it looks into the secondary, third, fourth, and fifth steps. There is more to this, and like this is just kind of a short summary of what to expect when it comes to AR, and stuff like slot order like rarely ever comes into effect because you need to actually assume that 2 units do exactly the same damage. Now this is possible if you run into some Grand Scratcher teams or something that just have like exactly the same attack, they're all colorless, and you run into a team and then slot order becomes like an actual thing you don't understand what may happen. And based on maybe weaponry or dancer locations, that could throw people off, and that might be the foundations to a good defense team if you think about it. But regardless of that, I hope that you took something out of this video. I hope you learned something, and feel free again in the comments below to, you know, if something's confusing you in AR, if you made a mistake or you feel like there's something you just quite don't understand about the AI that you could take from, please let me know, comments below. I'll try to make that maybe covered in a future video. Thank you for watching. Thumbs up, sub to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.